What's going on, guys? Mitch here. Today we're checking out the SRAM Force carbon crank set. This guy is a 175 mil. Hopefully I can show you the information here. There we go. So as we can see, it is the Force D1 Dub AXS 175. So some feedback on these. I have run these cranks before on my Specialized Aethos. I ended up modifying them and putting a power meter on it and then moving that over to my Tarmac SL7. And since then I've put back a set of SRAM Rival aluminum cranks onto the Aethos, and I wanted to go ahead and upgrade back to the Force because for what they cost, the weight savings is substantial. So to get started, we will crack this guy open. A lot of unnecessary packaging. Some foam, and then we get into the good stuff here. There we go. So let's get these guys out of the box here. We've got our first crank arm. Nice little sleeve to kind of keep that nice and shiny. Super, super lightweight. So we'll pull that out. Crank arm 2. Also very, very lightweight. Really nice and clean. I tell you, they do a really good job of making this stuff look fantastic when they're new. Pedal washers, please don't forget those. It's a great way to damage the spindle here, or sorry, the spindle threads for your pedal. So there we go. And that is literally it in the box. So anyway, back to the cranks themselves. As we can see, that it is a two-piece design. Some of the features that I really dig about this, obviously, is the fact that it does have this integrated spindle spacer here, and I'll zoom in to show that. So this spindle spacer here, all you're really doing is loosening off a couple Allen keys, or I believe it's actually just one. It loosens off, and then this is actually threaded on the axle itself, so you can move it in and out, which really makes it great for as you're kind of wearing in the system. If you do put a new bottom bracket in there, it's super simple and easy to adjust this little spacer without having to remove the entire crankset, take off the arm with the axle, put another spacer on, and then reinstall. It's just loosen this guy off. I believe it's reverse threaded, so reverse thread it to gain some space, and then tighten that little Allen key back up. Super simple. So the SRAM Dub axle itself is 28.99 mils in width, which is this way. You know, I don't know why it had to be 28.99. I'm sure you could look it up online. You know, Shimano being, I think they're 24 mil. GXP, I believe, might be 24 mil. Don't quote me on that. The Force cranks are available in the GXP standard configuration, so that is available as well if you want a thinner axle. But for me, the Dub system has been great and haven't had a whole lot of problems with it. Bearing life's been fantastic. The stiffness is certainly there, especially compared to the 30 mil stuff from the Easton world. Not having any issues with it. If we look at the spindle interface itself, as you can see, there's a lot of real estate here for engagement, which is awesome. If we go back to the square taper or ISIS days, you can kind of see why there were some issues. But they've kind of sorted those things out now, and this interface has been fantastic with all of the SRAM products I've had, which is great. Now, if we take a look at the non-drive side crank, we can kind of see, obviously this is not bonded in. People actually lose this little washer here. So that's your crank puller that's kind of built in. If we flip that onto the back, you can kind of see the inside of it here as well, in that it is threaded to go into the other side of the spindle. And here is where you'll be mounting your interface for chain rings, power meters, etc. I believe there's 8 bolts. Don't quote me on that. Yes, 8 bolts. Which is super easy. They all kind of countersink in. It's a really easy, super easy way to kind of mount everything and keep it clean. No problems there from my experience. I will say that if you don't lubricate this area with some grease, over time I have had some, you know, as the bolts do loosen up as you're laying obvious horsepower like myself, just kidding, things do get a little creaky, so just keep it clean, keep it greased, and that won't be an issue. On the other side, we can see this is actually bonded in place, so there's no crank puller or anything built in. That is permanent. So if that comes loose, then don't leave comments on how to tighten it. So you need a new crank arm. So for me, the SRAM Force stuff has always been about really good value compared to the SRAM Red. The marginal gains to go to SRAM Red, and typically 2 to 3 times the price typically. isn't necessarily the best for everybody. And for me, the SRAM Force line's always been really solid. You know, coming from a SRAM Rival drivetrain that is currently on kind of a mix between my Tarmac SL7 and my Aethos, you know, the two key points that I'm trying to address to save weight are the cranks and the cassette in that group set. Otherwise, you know, it's really marginal from Rival to Force to Red, and Force just being that real good sweet spot in performance for bang for your buck. So that's kind of it. I will throw these guys on a scale before I wrap it up. So these are 175 mil without a bottom bracket or chain rings, to give you an idea. 476 grams with grease. So there you have it, guys. If you have any questions, definitely leave them below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I will do another video showing you how to throw these guys on the bike and set them up. But otherwise, we'll talk to you later. Thanks.